Lisa. I have a page today to go with a series of blog posts that I'm doing about wrapping up the year, and this one is on accomplishments. So be sure and check out my blog. It'll talk more about what I'm doing and why I'm doing this. The page is going to have just a photo of me that I took. It's not the best selfie in the world, but it's one that I kind of liked, and it's going to have a title, and all of the journaling, which is a large amount of journaling, is going to go in a pocket behind this. I'll be doing a cutout and stuff up here on my paper a little bit later on. I'm planning to use a mask and some gel and then quite a few mists. And where I got my mist colors was from this designer paper. This is from the yearbook collection by Studio Calico. I picked it by just going through my different paper drawers and just to see what paper spoke to me, what said, this is the year. This is the one that I really like, and when I got to this paper, this was definitely it. I've loved this paper, and I've cut it up a lot. I've used quite a bit of it. It happened to go with the green in the photo, which was nice, but the photo is pretty neutral, so it didn't make that much difference. It has all these bright colors. It has my favorite color for a background. It's the perfect paper. It also has little pie charts, and since I'm going to be talking about accomplishments on my page and things that I've done during the year, pie charts are a lot about fitting everything together in either a day or a year's time frame and in the different parts of your life. So I thought it was a really appropriate paper. I'm not going to use a lot of it. I'm just going to do a border down on the bottom of the page, and then I'm going to put my title right above that. And I've already got my title. I've done some painting here. This was raw chipboard from Basic Gray, and I knew I wanted to paint it. And I've done all but one thing, and I'm going to show you a little bit about that in just a moment. And where this came from is I've had this stuff for years and I really love it, and I thought it'd be good to go through and pull out and try to, since I knew I was going to paint them, try to get as many letters as I could out of here. Some of these have worked down to where I hardly have anything left. In fact, one of them I got down to where I had almost nothing left. I got a few little commas there. I'm putting this in my mixed media drawer because I'm going to use this for a stencil at some point, probably with paint. I don't know how well mist would work because it's so thick, but I'm going to use it as a stencil in some of my mixed media. I think it will be really fun. So that's something you can use with your leftover chipboard items if you want to. But anyway, I pulled a bunch of these out and I've painted them in colors that matched my paper. I have one more that I'm going to do here this morning, and I wanted to show you this one. I've done a lot of painting of chipboard. That's why I went ahead and did them and prepped them rather than show it on the video. I was doing these blue ones in this distress paint, the Broken China color from Tim Holtz, and these applicators, these spongy applicators, sometimes I find that valuable, but most of the time I just like to work with paint with a brush. However, on these chipboard things, it's great. These sponge applicators work beautifully. So I want to show you that again on this one. And I'm going to start with, I'm using the barn door color, and I'm going to get it started over here on the side. Squeeze a little bit of it out. There we go. And I'm just going to use that to add the paint. So this is a very thin letter here, or punctuation. But I mean, just a few little sponges and I'm done. And that's the fastest painting of chipboard that I know of. So the little sponge applicators on the distress paints work really well for applying to chipboard. Now another thing that I want to do with this layout, go ahead and slide my letters over, is I want to add some gel medium over this stencil, and then when that dries, it'll be clear, and then I'm going to put some mist over the top of that. Now I have taken the paper and I've coated it with a layer of Mod Podge. I was experimenting with my mists and I tried the typical gesso, and I just tried using plain white paper, and I really wasn't as excited about the mist on the gesso as like we normally do, and I decided to try Mod Podge, and I liked that look, so I'm going to do that again here. It's just a piece of cardstock. If it doesn't work out, it's the first layer. I won't have really lost anything. I can try a different background medium. So I'm using some golden heavy gel, and this comes out white, but it will dry clear. I just have to hold my stencil down good till I get it started, And it's important, I've discovered, in doing these to kind of work clockwise or counterclockwise, but keep going around and not skip any spaces, because I'm doing white on white and I won't see it. In fact, I almost skipped a space there, and I have missed spots doing it by not going all the way around carefully. Because once you pull that stencil up, it's up. I don't need this really thick. I ended up putting it on a little thicker than I had planned to. It took a little bit longer to dry. It doesn't hurt anything, but you can actually spread this stuff pretty thin and still get quite a bit of definition there. So just pull that off, and you can see the design. It'll show up a lot better once we start doing the misting. Now this is dried, and I had to leave it for a few hours. I've got several mists here that match my background paper. That bright orange I'm going to leave and do droplets at the end. And I'm going to be using some blues and yellows and greens. And I'm going to do my blues over here on the left and make sure I do my yellows away from those, because if I add blue and yellow together, of course, I'm going to end up with more green than I really want. So sprayed on a little bit of the Honor Society blue, and then added some clear water, just water, to make it run a little bit. And it's running nicely on this Mod Podged background, adding some Heidi Swap color shine there, and it's really showing the texture. I didn't know how well the texture of the white cardstock would show through after I put Mod Podge on it, but it's coming through nicely. Continuing to add some water. This is running really good. It is going to take a little bit longer to dry though, because it is a Mod Podge surface. It's not going to soak into the paper as if I just left the paper plain. And you can start to see some of that design really coming through. I'll still have the photo on there. I think I need just a little bit more mist, a little bit more of that green. And I'm thumping the back of the paper to help it to run a little bit more. Add a little bit more of that peachy toned color. And then I think we have our mists. I let it dry for a while, and then I just use the heat gun to kind of help finish that off. And down towards the bottom of the page, it's pretty dry, so I can work down there. Using a paper towel just to mop up a little bit at the top, because I'm impatient. You have to be careful with a paper towel. You'll end up mopping up more than you really want. I'm going to do a little bit more mist with the orange, and just doing it in drops. I thought this orange was a little too bold to spray it on, but it looks really nice in droplets. It's a Delusions mist. Kind of checking the colors there. And I'll show you some close-ups of this. You can really see that mask coming through with the gel on it, and then the splatters. And while the top part finishes drying, I'm going to go ahead and add some things to the bottom. I've got some paper, and I know I want to add some trim, but I need to get my paper glued down. The paper is going to go in with some liquid adhesive, since that's a Mod Podge background. And I don't know whether I want to put my trims on there with the colors matching underneath each of the words, or I want to alternate the colors. So I'm going to start with the ones matching, and the orange under the orange, the blue under the blue. And I switched them around, and I immediately liked it a lot better with some contrast. So we'll use the liquid glue. And that orange trim I got on sale at Hobby Lobby in the fabric department. It's actually got little sequins and stuff in it. It was really cute trim I got for a very cheap price a couple of years ago. And I love to have textured trims on my scrapbook pages. So, and a little goes a long way. It doesn't take a lot of these kinds of trims to make a big impact. Get a little bit of that extra trim out of the way, and glued my letters on. And now I'm ready to add my photo, which I'm going to do with pop dots. I have some paper there that we'll be coming back to in a moment to add to the top for a pocket. For the pocket, I need to cut out an opening for it. I'm using my Creative Memories oval cutters. I still have the oval and the circle cutters. And this makes great way to cut pockets, and you can do it by, just with scissors as well, or any other type of paper trimmer. Just hold tight to the paper to keep it from shifting while your cutter's working, or maybe tack it down if you need to. Now this paper on the back, I want that green to show, so I need to do a little measuring and figure out exactly how big that I want my pocket to be.
and I can't remember on this one, I think I ended up with it being something like 5 inches by 8 inches, but I cut the paper a 1/2 inch wider on each side and a 1/2 inch longer on the bottom, and you'll see why in just a moment. I'm going to take the paper to the scoring board, and I'm going to score a 1/2 inch over on each side and a 1/2 inch at the bottom. And then I'm going to fold the lines in, because I want the print on the inside of the pocket, since it's going to show through that circle or oval cut that I did at the top. By doing these folded in area of the pocket instead of just gluing it straight to the back, it makes the pocket roomier, so I can put more information in there. I knew my accomplishments were going to be more than just one sheet. It's actually going to end up being on a folded sheet of paper, so I knew I would need a little bit more room. As I talk about on my blog, I put a lot of different things in the accomplishments, not just the big stuff. It's just for my eyes, so I can put whatever I want in there, but I need some space. And I'm using a tape runner type adhesive. This is Creative Memories tape runner adhesive. I don't know if they're still using this, called photo tape. It's a really sticky adhesive, but you could use the red sticky tape. Anything that will hold really well, or you could use a liquid glue. And I'm going to apply it from the back side. I think that'll be easier to get it on there straight. And now I have a roomy pocket.
Completed page. I used some sculptured flowers and some of these burlap stickers from Little Yellow Bicycle. I thought that made a nice contrast to all the color. So we can get some close-ups. And then what I have up here is I have my accomplishments. They're just in a typed list. Oops. And they go down in the pocket, and what keeps them from falling down is if I position this such that it just fits right in there. And I have it hot glued so that the tab won't go too far down in, as long as I catch the edge on the outside. And so that's how the front looks, and then the back we have the pocket here, and it's a pretty generous pocket that allowed quite a bit of room if I wanted to use a larger sheet of paper. So anyway, that's my accomplishments page. Please check out my blog. I have a lot more information about doing this. Questions you can ask yourself if you want to make your own list of accomplishments, and sharing a lot of information about that and kind of wrapping up a year. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you'll tune in next time.